Hey guys, this is Callum from EnglishShooting, and well, I have some pretty concerning news in front of me. This is a report done by the Charity Commission over the conduct, the management, integrity and overall structure of the NRA. Now, if you've watched EnglishShooting for a while, you will know that I have been critical of the NRA in the past. I feel that those criticisms are fairly justified, given that a lot of them have come from current and even previous members of the NRA. And in investigating myself, I shared those concerns and I voiced those concerns. What I haven't done in the past though is clarify. Clarify that those videos, this video, and more importantly, this report does not reflect every volunteer and staff member of the NRA. There are a lot of people, the majority of people at the NRA that work for them, either paid or unpaid, that do an incredible amount of good and that are a complete benefit to the shooting sports community. Where this lies is with the top. It lies with the trustees and the CEO, Andrew Mercer. There are a number of concerns that have been raised, but where this has stemmed from is over the legal battle that the NRA has recently had with the Artists Clubhouse. If you don't know, there was negotiations over the lease with the Artists Clubhouse where the NRA significantly increased the rent. They said it was to keep it more in line with the market rate. I don't really think that's overly charitable. The artists were ultimately successful in their legal battle with the NRA, but it has not been without significant costs on both sides. The artists have said to have a £250,000 legal bill and the NRA having a similar amount spent on it. It has been said that this is perhaps not the best use of charitable funds by the NRA and that money could have been better spent elsewhere. Because of the conduct during that legal battle, the artists, members of the artists and other NRA members raised various concerns with the Charity Commission. The Charity Commission has then proceeded to do a full investigation of these concerns and really their findings are quite damning. On the first page of this document, which was sent to Adam Holloway, MP, it states, "Following this engagement, we determined that there were a number of issues of concern about the charity's management and administration, and that the trustees needed to take steps to ensure they comply with their legal duties and responsibilities to act in the best interests of the charity." There is also a separate letter that has been sent to Mr. John Webster of the NRA and goes into a lot more detail. A lot of stuff is duplicated between the two and I will try to go along them in tandem and I think pick out the most concerning points. Now, to fully understand this, you have to appreciate the way that the NRA is structured and the fact that it is a charity. In being a charity, they have to have a charitable purpose, and that is for the efficiency of armed forces and the defence of the realm. Now, within this document, it clearly states that civilian shooting is not covered under this, and that actually a lot of activities that the NRA go into and perform are not covered under that charitable objective. And that's why in 1998, the NSC was created. That's the National Shooting Centre Limited. By creating this limited company, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the NRA, it allows the NRA and the NSC to involve itself in activities that are not towards its charitable objective. The main reason for creating it was actually to take controlling ownership of Bisley shooting ground, which is the pay and play playground which is situated on Bisley. As it stands today, it is completely separate. But in 1998, there was an agreement where the NRA would take over 51%. Unfortunately, due to failings, the deal fell through. The current owners took a near 100% of the ownership of BSG, and the NRA were left with a significant expense in the failings of trying to organise that. The NSC was still then used for various activities, namely the NCSC. Also the estate management, so all of the tenancy agreements, all of the other business activities around Bisley are underneath the NSC. But due to mismanagement, it has caused various concerns and issues by the Charity Commission. So, titled Charitable Purpose, the Commission has particular concerns that the charity had engaged in activities that do not fulfil charitable purpose for the efficiency of armed forces and the defence of the realm, and which cannot be said to be incidental in their achievement. This is a breach of trust. Going forward, the charity will need to properly focus on its charitable purposes, and any activities which are not purely incidental to these purposes must be separated out and to be undertaken by the NSC that was established for this function. This is a very basic separation, and you would have to ask, why have the NRA been unable to separate its activities at the detriment of its charitable status? Along with the NSC, there is the responsibility of the disposal of land, with the NSC overseeing the estate management effectively with all the tenancies. Not having this separation causes further concerns for the Charity Commission. Another big concern of the Charity Commission are legal fees. In making decisions about incurring significant legal costs, we expect the trustees to follow our guidance. This moves on to this second document, which goes into further details. In particular, before making the decision, the trustees should give consideration to whether the expenditure is in the best interest of the charity. So what does all this mean? Well, by no means am I a legal expert, but through my interpretation and understanding of the structure of the NRA, because the NRA's objective, its charitable objective, is for the efficiency of the armed forces and defence of the realm, by using charitable funds to fight legal battles effectively on behalf of a limited company, the NSC, would be a misuse of funds, and would ask the question of whether that is legal. And I think that is what the Charity Commission here is highlighting. They need to be incredibly careful of how those funds are used and for what purposes. Unfortunately, that is not the end of the concerns for the Charity Commission. Next goes on to the trustees, the trustee board, skills and experience. Concerns were raised regarding the lack of experience within the trustee board. While the trustee board previously had individuals with legal and real estate experience, this is no longer the case. Trustee boards should ideally have individuals who can or already have experience in setting strategies, managing resources and staff, and can exercise control over business operations. Again, what this goes to suggest is that, well, the trustees do not have the relevant experience to run Bisley, and other people have questions, namely Bisley Shooting Ground with their pending legal battle, whether the trustees are fit for purpose. There's also questions of their governance of the trading subsidiaries. The trading subsidiary is currently set up with the charity CEO as its only director and decision maker. It is difficult to see how any conflict of interest or loyalty is managed, or how the charity's interests are properly protected. So you have this independent, separate, limited company which has the CEO of the charity as its only decision maker. There's little accountability and trust there? And again, one would have to ask, who holds Andrew Mercer to account if things go wrong? They have specified that there are to be a number of independent people that can maintain the trust, that can maintain the loyalty, and also protect conflicts of interest. Going further into detail on the good governance of trading subsidiaries, trustees must make decisions solely in the charity's interest. You should not allow your judgment to be swayed by personal prejudices or dominant personalities. And then moving back over onto the accountability of trustees. Concerns were raised with the Commission regarding members who felt that when questioning trustees, they did not get answers and found themselves instead the subject of disciplinary action. And this all goes back to what I said at the start with questioning the NRA. When raising concerns or being critical, you are unfortunately met with fire. It does not install trust, it does not install transparency between its members and the organisation. And then to have accounts where the trustees quite evidently do not have the required skills as a whole to be able to correctly manage the NRA leaves a lot of questions. Is the Board of Trustees fit for purpose? Is Bisley and the NRA in safe hands? Are they able to correctly manage it? This document certainly brings that all into question. The document sent to MP Holloway then concludes by going into detail about the action plan that has been issued to the NRA. The action plan has not been made publicly available, but it is quite clear here that they have up to 6 months to implement a lot of these urgent matters. It's not clear also what the steps required of the NRA are going to be and what changes we are likely to see in the organisation. Finishing with the document sent to MP Holloway, there are still a number of highlighted concerns in the document to Mr. John Webster. You told us that trustees could not accept situations if comments were being made about the charity or its trustees that were disrespectful. Without disrespectful being defined by the NRA, it really leaves it very ambiguous. At what point are concerns and criticisms deemed disrespectful? At what point will the NRA stop listening to members because they deem it to be disrespectful? And with my own personal dealings with the NRA, I have felt this air of arrogance about them, that if you criticise or raise concerns that are fairly justified or merely talking points, they shut down. They don't want to talk to you, they deem it disrespectful, and they want to move on as they were. It goes on to say that trustees should be mindful to carefully manage meetings where members can be involved. In doing that, there will need to be some balance with being open and transparent to provide information to members. This is one of the single greatest concerns that have been voiced to me over the years: transparency and openness. The Charity Commission have specifically highlighted this and have advised that they will need to be open and transparent, and that really this is one of the major points moving forward for the NRA to be better at its charitable objectives. So, on the whole of it, we have an organisation that could potentially be mismanaging funds, an organisation that has a history of going after its tenants and what many people have said, employing intimidation and bullying tactics to achieve it, whether or not they are successful in court later on. You have an organisation that the trustees do not have the relevant skills to perform their duties, and even the skills that they do have, they are not performing their legally required duties. We have a lack of openness and transparency. We have a lack of the NRA being willing to listen to critics and concerns. And overall, this does not paint a very good picture for the NRA. This is incredibly serious. The NRA are on the fringes of potentially losing their charitable status. There is even the possibility in certain circumstances where legal action could be taken against the trustees and even the CEO. The CEO, of course, that has a history of selling off land to private developers. You have to ask, where is the NRA heading under the current leadership? And as other people have questioned, is the leadership fit for purpose? So why have I made this video? Surely it would be better to keep our dirty laundry behind closed doors. Well, that's exactly what the NRA would like. They need to be accountable, to have some humility in the mistakes that they have made, and then implement the changes that are so desperately need to get Bisley and the NRA back on track. The trustees have numerous legal obligations which, via this document, they have failed at. And if the NRA was to collapse, if they were to lose their charitable status or disappear entirely, it would be a huge detriment to shooting sports in the UK. And that should concern every shooter out there. It would have a massive effect on us all. They simply cannot be allowed to conduct themselves in this continuing manner. As I said, changes are very much required. They've been given a 6-month period on most of these urgent changes, if not all. And it will be interesting to see the changes that are implemented within Bisley. But you do have to ask, is it too late? Can the current trustees and management make the changes they need to ensure the survival of the NRA? Or in taking accountability, do they need to resign? I will be putting these documents in the description below for everybody to go and have a read yourself. I will also include, I think it's the 2000 or 2001 journal, which goes into the 1998 dispute with Bisley Shooting Ground and also the inception of the NSC. It also goes into detail further about the mismanagement back then, which led to significant expense at the NRA. There we go. Worrying stuff. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope in some way you've enjoyed it, and as always, I hope to see you soon.